Hello everyone, this is AK with Instructional Design 601, and I want to take about 5 minutes or so in this video to really explain how grading works in Instructional Design 601. The one thing that you may have noticed, both in the syllabus and in the course and now in the gradebook, is that I don't assign numerical grades. I either assign a pass, a not pass, and in some cases a high pass. The reason for this is that I've noticed that as a society we tend to look at numerical grades, and those are fine if we really want to quantify something, but not everything is quantifiable. I really want us to focus on the learning journey. And the way to do that is to look at whether an assignment or an activity is passing. And if it's passing, there's always room for improvement. And if it's not passing, there's definitely room for improvement. So instead of focusing solely on performance, which is something that a lot of instructional design models look at, I really want us to look at the learning opportunities and their learning journey. I find that if I were awarded hundreds all the time, I just don't look at the feedback, and I think that feedback is really where a lot of valuable learning happens. So 20% of the course are discussions. There are some badges associated with discussions. Some of them are secret, so the more you participate in discussion forums, the more opportunities there are to discover those secret badges. But here is the rubric with which I evaluate the discussions that you submit. You can see that it's numerically based, but if you reach, let's say, an 80 or above, then you're in the passing grade range. So how does this work? With discussion forums, you only really need 12 or more posts to earn the highest grade. So let's have a little zoom in here. And you'll see that we have 13 weeks in the semester, and some weeks have multiple discussions. So week 2 and week 13 fall into that category. So student 1 might participate in week 1 and week 2, or at least one of the two, and earn check marks 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 12, and then week 13 they don't have time, something happens, they don't participate at all in discussions. But they still got 12 out of 15 check marks, so you still earn an A. And that, for final grade purposes, calculates to a 95. Student 2 may have participated in week 1, but they missed the mark, so they got an X, or not passing. But in subsequent weeks, they got check marks. They may have not participated in a couple of weeks, but by and large, they participated in 10 out of 15 of the discussion forum posts. So that earns a B. And then student 3, going down to what constitutes a C, 8 out of 15 posts, which is roughly about half. So the point here is that you don't really need to participate every single week. If you participate every single week, then you'd earn the maximum, which would be 100. But there's always a balance in the course, and you might not be able to participate in a specific week. So as a learner, I like to front load my assignments, so I would be more likely to participate more at the beginning of the semester if I were a learner, just in case something happened near the end and I couldn't participate. And if I could participate in all of them, then great, I'd earn 100. But I would look at that as a balancing act. Next up, we have the weekly feedback. This is worth about 10%, or it's actually worth 10% of your final grade. And I talked a little bit about this in the introductory post to the course. In your weekly feedback, there are 4 sort of questions just to get you started. What were some aha moments? How much time did you spend? What kind of information was useful to you this week? And the idea is not for you to post just really short answers about Dick and Carrie was interesting to me this week, but post the why. How does this connect to your work, to your previous learning experiences, to what you do as a learner. What didn't work out so well? How did that connect with previous things you learned, or issues that you might have had with technology, or things of that nature? And there are four possible badges depending on how many posts you do. You can do these in the quiz type reflection that is posted in Blackboard, or you can use a blogging platform to blog every week. You can use Tumblr, Blogger, WordPress, EduBlogs, whatever you have access to, you can use. So, what are the numerical equivalents? So, the bronze level, if you do 8 reflective posts that are of passing grade, you get a C. 10 reflective posts earn you a B. 12 earn you an A. And the Zen level, which is 13 or more, um, earns you 100. So you might be asking, well, it's 13 weeks. How the heck do I get more passing level posts? Well, if you blog, then you might be inclined to blog more frequently, and that's how you earn more than 13 posts. Again, this is a balance. You only need 12 reflective posts out of the 13 weeks in order to earn an A, so where you spend your time and energy is really up to you. ID explorations. This is the group work that starts with week 3. This is 40% of the course. There are 4 explorations. There is a theories of learning topic, which you'll start doing a little more exploration on learning theories. Tools and modalities, so this is the educational technology aspect of the course. And then there's the instructional design models. So in addition to Dick and Carey, there are other ID models, and as a group you're asked to explore another one and compare and contrast. I've set some limits here just to give you some boundaries. This is expected to be an introduction and not a thesis. You'll have multiple opportunities as you progress in your studies to learn more about this. So if your team is doing something that is text-based, think about it more like 1,500 words, give or take a couple hundred words. And if it's a presentation like this one, about 15 minutes should do. The groups have an opportunity to decide how they want to deliver their deliverable so that I and fellow classmates can read what you have come up with. It can be a Word document, it can be a wiki, it can be a website, it can be a video, it can be a lot of different things. I encourage you to take the time to explore some educational technologies and stretch yourself a little bit. This is a good opportunity. So, badge to numerical conversion. 2 badges, so if your group only does 2 out of the 4 ID explorations, the group would get a 75 or a C. If you do 3 out of the 4, you get a B. If you do all 4, you get an A. And 5+ badges, if as a group you want to do more explorations, which is certainly possible, or if as an individual, after your group does the 4, you want to do something additional, you can do that. Again, I'll go back and say this is a balance. The difference between 4 badges, an A, and an A+, which is 100, is only 5 points, so it really depends on a lot of different factors that factor in not just your interest in the topic, but also what happens in your life outside of the course. And the final big ticket item here is the final project, which is individual. It's worth 30% of your total grade. And I presented this during the introduction to the course. There are different components here, 12 of them to be specific. And there's a component due every week of the course, pretty much, with the exception of the first and the final week. If you want to look at the numerical conversion, so if you get 8 pass assignments, so that is 8 out of these entire 12 stages, you will earn a C. If you get 9 passing, you get a B. If you get 10, you get an A. And then if you do everything, and the final pass would be the reviewer stage, you would get 100. The reviewer here kind of seems like it's optional, but I really want you to do peer review. I think it's a very good opportunity to both learn how to do good feedback, but also how to receive feedback and incorporate that in your design. All right, so rubber meets the road here. How does this all calculate into a final grade? Well, I took about an average student. Let's say that in the discussions, the student completed 10 out of the 15 discussions with a check mark. That would mean that's an 85 for that component. The reflection, let's say they completed 12 out of the 13. That would be a 95 for that part. The idea explorations, their groups completed all 4, so that's a 95. And you have a project where you got 10 out of 11. Let's say maybe you were away the final week and you missed a review, or you missed some critical component in the middle part and you didn't have time to submit it. Let's just say something happened. And you got a 95. So factoring all that and doing the math, your final grade would still be an A. So my point here is don't fixate on the week-to-week numerical grading. Look at the forest through the individual trees and keep tab of how many check marks you get. If you want, I can provide you with an Excel spreadsheet that you can plug in little check marks, and that would automatically calculate things for you. But I really want this to be a learning experience. I don't want you to focus too much on the numerical. I want you to think about how you can be continuously improving regardless of the mark that you get. So I'll see you all in class, and if you have questions, please let me know.